1,
You're like a dream come true.
4.
Oh, that's way out of order.
2.
There we go. Just wanna be with you.
3.
Cause it's plain to
We're
see that you're the. Oh, who was it? Yeah. No one, huh? Brian McKnight? Nobody?
Oh, I heard it, bro. I was
There you go.
jamming.
I'm busy.
Good tunes, man. Good tunes.
Damn right, they're good tunes. Brian fucking McKnight. Hey, it's Soul, and welcome back to Warcraft Weekly, and you can't spell weekly without week.
Big Simpin.
This week, just like the last, is a sledgehammer of news and updates and shoes. There's a lot of shoes.
What are these shoes you speak of?
And a whole lot of transmog, presumably dedicated to Legion Time Walking that's coming in 915, but we're gonna have to wait and see for the full shebang. Data mining from the Wowhead team reveals full armor ensembles from the Tomb of Sargeras, a bunch of weapons and off-pieces that might be on a future Time Walking vendor, and toys, beautiful homages to old Blizzard games. It's easy to get sort of lost in what's coming in this 0.5 patch with the smaller details, cosmetics, and soul shapes, and whatever. So what I'd like to do today is to cover the biggest changes coming, but to do it from kind of a boots on the ground sort of perspective. What'll it actually be like when you first log into patch 915? Will it feel new? What's going to open up? And I have some answers, although the specifics are going to change before launch. Like, it would be dumb, like if I did a 915 early review, right? That would be so cringe. We need a few perspectives to illustrate this experience, so we're going to start with your main character, which I presume is like max level, or it's at or very close to max level renown with the quest campaigns completed and all that stuff. Most characters, especially melee characters, will come into a new / old era without the controversial AoE cap. It should feel a little bit more natural to hit a ton of targets, with the first few that are hit for full damage and the rest for reduced damage. If you're a Lightforged to Draenei, a Nightborn, or an Alliance High Elf, you can skip on over to the barbershop and have at it with a bunch of new customization options. Druids can hit up the auction house where predatory scribes like me will sell them items to expand on their druid forms. You'll be able to take some of your old legendaries and get back all of the soul ash and or cinders that you spent on them. You're not going to get the base pieces or the missives back, however, meaning that armor crafters should expect a very sizable bump in sales of rank 4 base pieces, as well as a modest bump of rank 6s, which also means that the economy of Korthite crystals should fluctuate a bit. It's still a while until the patch, so we're bound to see a kind of an oversupply of crystals before then, followed by a short bump when the floodgates open. Assuming that Renown 80 is going to be available at the start of the patch, if your Renown is at 80, you will lift all of the restrictions and cooldowns for switching your Covenant on not just that character, but it's going to be
account-wide.
You'll also be able to wear the transmog of Covenants that you're not a part of as long as, of course, you earn them. The only restriction in place is the usual armor type. So if you want to be a Venthyr on top and the Kyrian on the bottom and Night Fae on the back, go for it. If you've completed a Covenant campaign, you will unlock the opportunity to skip that campaign on any of your alts. So it might be worth considering completing any of the campaigns that you've missed at least one time, including the 9.1 Chains of Domination campaign, which is the same for everyone, so that should be pretty easy. Activating the skip presumably gets you the renown that you would get from the questline and the unlocks like the extra Korthia daily. We can't test this yet, but let's kind of walk you through what it's going to be like when you switch Covenant with these skips in place. Using myself as an example, I've got a fully decked out Kyrian person with the renown, the Sanctum upgraded, and all that stuff. I play through all 4 Covenant campaigns across alts, but up until now, I've never switched my Covenant on my main. Now though, I'm going to join the Night Fae because I want to troll my team. So I go to the Enclave, I sign up, and I head over to Ardenweald. As soon as I complete the regular pomp and circumstance, I guess, like choosing my first soulbind and all of that, I'll now be able to skip the entire Night Fae campaign and presumably get all the rewards that come with it, including the renown. Keep in mind that since I switched Covenant, my renown has been knocked down to 1. I'm now in that renown super catch-up mode, so the campaign should be giving me extra renown. With the completion of this campaign, it should put me at what, like renown 20-ish or so, and give me all 3 of my soulbinds. I can then immediately go back to Oribos and switch to the Necrolord and or for the Venthyr Covenants as for some quick progression and unlocks. With everything laid out for me, this now presents a new challenge to consider at least maxing out all of the Covenant's renown and farm anima like a psycho and grind more adventure people all on a single character. Of course, I don't have to do that, but without these restrictions, it's definitely opened up. Since I'm on my main, who has already maxed out the Sanctum and the Korthia perks, I can enjoy the increased anima rewards from everything that I do, regardless of my Covenant. I'll also be able to continuously farm redeemed souls, 20 at a time, regardless of my renown level. This puts me on a very, very long and rewarding path from kind of a solo and casual perspective, because I'm going to find myself swapping Covenants on non-raid days, plugging away to earn myself all these cosmetics and pets and mounts and toys because I didn't get caught up in that level of grinding throughout the time earlier this year. It's going to be pretty neat, I think. Like, I'll be able to plant seeds and stuff on the Nightfate Conservatory and then come back later. I can, just switch to my Venthyr for the weekly party thing, and then switch to my Necrolord and bum around in the Abomination Factory, and then back to my Kyrian to do my raids and dungeons and erotic roleplay. That's why I would love for the anima reservoir to be shared across the Covenants, because right now in the PTR it is not. And it's not like there aren't solutions. Like, at the moment, people can, right now they can buy anima rewards like gear, switch Covenants, and then use that refund option to just sell it back and get that anima. So that works, but it's pretty janky. So when it comes to Covenant switching, I would love to see this solution go all the way. There are some smaller conveniences too for all, not just for mains. There's going to be teleporters in the maw that will take us to, somewhere close to the Sanctum of Domination raid entrance. And we can deposit anima while we're in Korthia. There's a little device that we unlock that doesn't require any real work to do. You just get a quest over there that says, hey, there it is, and hey, go use it, and then you're done. When it comes to making groups for raids, PvP stuff, or dungeons, there was a very interesting addition. There's no changes for joining groups, and anyone can still make groups just fine. However, you do need an authenticator attached to your account to be able to custom edit the title and the details. If you don't have an authenticator, the information will auto-populate based on the raid that you choose or the keystone and level that is in your inventory. So it's basically pull-down menus and autofill options. The aim here is not to diss on people who don't use authenticators, but to fight off something that is almost universally reviled: advertisements. I'm going to read the developer note as to why this is a thing. A group finder that's full of advertisements bothers us as much as it does you, but a challenge we faced in trying to eliminate those ads is that they are often posted by compromised accounts or other throwaway accounts, such that penalties incurred by in-game reporting have not proven to be an effective deterrent. And regardless, relying on reports still means that some number of players have their experience disrupted by the spam before it gets reported. The Battle.net Authenticator is available for mobile devices and is a simple and convenient way to secure your World of Warcraft account. But if you prefer to not use it for whatever reason, you will still be able to post groups that will have descriptions auto-populated, as in based on the name and the difficulty selected in UI dropdowns or derived from the mythic keystone currently in your bags. Our goal is to clean up the group finder while trying to minimize the inconvenience to ordinary players. Not everyone wants to rely on their phone or tablet as an authenticator in the event that said device is lost or stolen, or the battery is dead, or your dog ate it and is now hilariously running off with it. But everyone who plays WoW is obviously playing on a computer of some sort, unless you're not on a computer, so then... Here's another solution. There are mobile emulators that you can download onto your main computer, like BlueStacks. This is not an advertisement, by the way. Then you can set up a Google account and then download the Battle.net Authenticator onto the emulator and use that to log in. I don't want to stick around for this, I want to move on, but if you have questions about this, chime in with a comment and I'll try to answer as soon as I can. There are a bunch of small but still cool things, but now I want to re-dip into this whole player experience, this time as an alt, because it's pretty different. Let's dive in. As a level 50 alt from your capital city, you can activate the Maw Introduction Skip, woohoo, with a click to your zip to Oribos where you can choose the Threads of Fate option just like that pretty much. So far, the Maw Skip does not get you the almost free level that you would get from doing the introduction. So you gotta ask yourself, is a 30-minute quest line worth a whole level to you? This might change over the next few builds, but for now, that's the question to ask. If you choose the Threads of Fate, you're free to do as you wish like always, but now with some more more options and direction. The command map over in the Enclave now directs you to do Torghast and Battlegrounds on top of the current zone content. Battlegrounds are pretty self-explanatory, so whatever, let's go over to Torghast. In patch 9.15, we're gonna get a quest to head on over before max level. Jumping into the mod takes us directly to Torghast, where we're presented with a daily quest to complete 2 cell blocks. Completing a cell block earns you a renown level, and from the daily we get some bonus experience, tower knowledge, and soul ash, which isn't so bad. These are special threads of fate versions of Torghast. We're not climbing layers, we're not presented with extra difficulties or anything like that. We just have this pillar, you click it, and you hop right in. And I do find it pretty neat that we get access to the box of many things much earlier. In this very first build though, Torghast is not what I would consider very efficient or just very good leveling at the slightest. Completing the daily quest gets you no more than 1/6 of a level, and without the daily quest, you're earning next to no experience. And by the way, there's already a tweet going around that this is going to be addressed. But there's also no other rewards, notably leveling gear, which again makes Torghast leveling very unattractive, even if your playstyle is very relaxed. Like right now, unless you love Torghast and want to put babies in it, it's mostly a waste of time. So before we move on, a little bit of feedback. Like I said, the experience rewards definitely need a look at. They're already looking at it, but I'm talking about the experience from mob kills to clearing a cell block to, again, the daily quest, which is already being addressed. I think the daily should include a box of random gear pieces that scale to your current level. So in so few words, I have it in mind to answer the outcry of those out there who want Torghast to be a legitimate leveling path. Like if people want to know life it and get to max level doing this, shoot, why not? I don't see anybody getting hurt from this. Eventually people are going to leave to do other things, so it's just not a big deal. Meanwhile, outdoor content through Threads of Fate is pretty darn lucrative these days, with bonus objectives that can be completed faster, award renown, and with the zoned objectives also given a meaty chunk of anima and better gear on top of the renown that you're already getting in this super catch-up mode. There's also going to be new scouting maps that unlock all flight points throughout all the expansions, including, hopefully, Shadowlands. And then, once your ult gets to max level, they can potentially, if you've unlocked all of these skips, you can join and skip all 4 Covenant campaigns, getting you whatever renown and rewards in the process. You can also potentially be able to skip the entire Chains of Domination questline, but keep in mind that this is something you can probably only do once, so think of it as some bonus renown for 1 Covenant of your choice. So ults who are going to be born in patch 9.15 are more or less going to have a much better time than the 9.0 or the 9.1 alts. But for all characters, mains, or alts, depending on your playstyle, we're also entering a new paradigm where the potential of our characters is greater, with easy access to all 4 Covenants with their abilities and soul binds. On the other hand, think of this as a double-edged sword, because potential plus accessibility can equate to the expectation of
Following the meta.
there's no longer going to be an excuse for me to be like a Night Fae paladin if I want any hope of joining a pug, for example. I might be progressing to an encounter that favors me switching to a cleave covenant or a single target covenant, so I'm going to have lots of fun having people hearth back so they can change their thing and then come right on back. So I really want to get your folks' thoughts and input, and I'm mostly talking to the people who are probably affected by this, progression raiders, dungeon and PvP folk who at least know that there's some pressure but have been writing it off. How does this affect you, if at all? So in the WoW space, and especially with this channel, PTR season has officially launched, so you can expect regular updates on big shifts that happen from build to build, but I'm not going to cover absolutely everything. Call it lazy, but covering class changes is an exhausting endeavor, like, oh no, this got nerfed, or this got buffed, which means it's an indirect nerf to me, this is totally unplayable, and so on. The thing about the roller coaster of emotion is that not only is it kind of an up and down thing, but it goes in an endless loop. But what we have so far, at least, is the makings of a great patch. All that's missing at the moment are story bits, but it's nothing to expect with the first build. Many concerns are being addressed. New things are coming that are getting people excited. Going back to this paladin transmog thing, I gotta say that the recolor looks really, really good, and I'm eager to see the rest. The upcoming patch 9.1.5 is part of the ever-moving Blizzard pattern, the ups and downs of an expansion cycle, and with what we've seen so far, I think we're on the up portion of it. it. Many of you out there on the internet have probably shaken your heads even throughout today's weekly with the usual comments of too little, too late, or both, that this is a pattern no longer worth my money and so on and so forth, and I totally get it. We can spend all day asking Blizzard why they didn't think of these obvious changes sooner, why did they take so long to act on our feedback and admit their mistakes along the way. There's a game dev blog out there called Ask a Game Dev. Fancy that. I have one of its blog posts in the description, you can take a look at it, and it presents a question. Why can't developers just straight up tell people, fans and so on, about how things work on their part, or why certain decisions were made for every decision made to justify them, especially when they get angry? It's a very reasonable and measured question with a very reasonable and measured answer, but I'm just gonna give the summary bullet points. One, it's because fans don't always have the context to understand our decisions. Two, because time spent explaining to and arguing with fans is time spent not working on the actual game. And three, because fans who are angry won't really accept our explanations anyway. Now, I read the whole article, obviously, so I agree with these points. I suggest that in case you don't agree, make sure you at least finish reading that post first and then we can talk. So I get it when people are fed up, but I have to admit it's pretty hard for me to rally around those who see some good changes on the horizon and then change their reason around a little bit so they can stay fed up. I'll reiterate, it's like being mad about a thing, seeing the thing get fixed, and then being mad that there was ever a thing. I hear the following proverb said a lot in order to push an agenda. I usually hear this in politics, but the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. There are multiple ways to interpret this, but here's mine in the context of what's going on in the World of Warcraft and at Blizzard. Mistakes and bad decisions can be made. A part of the design could be overlooked, promises may end up being loftier than the delivery, and a global pandemic might hit, or a spotlight may appear highlighting an ugliness and rot from within your own team. Sometimes, like now, it is too little, too late, but it doesn't mean losing faith in yourself. It doesn't mean lessons can't be learned or that there's no path forward. It might be too little too late for your audience, but it's never too late to change at all. Unless, Bobby Kotick liquidates Blizzard and turns it into a yacht called Titan, then that's gonna be a pretty hard day. So it's almost fall, and unlike other seasons, the WoW team is going to face even greater challenges to keep the interest of its players. By the end of this month, New World from Amazon Studios is going to make a splash. Sometime later, probably after the 9.15 patch, Final Fantasy XIV's Endwalker expansion is going to launch, and there's going to be a ton of games that have been coming out that will continue coming out, and I'm pretty happy about that. Because for so long, World of Warcraft has been the kind of king of the ring, and with that comes a sense of, superiority, hubris, celebrity. World of Warcraft will always have its fans, hello, but it's also been taking a beating over the years, and now the competition is only getting more fierce. Good. It'll be cool to see the WoW team challenge itself not because of the pressure from players, but the pressure from actual competition, so I'm looking forward to this. Meanwhile, on social media, in light of the, kind of more positive news going on with 9.15 and WoW, a lot of people are trying to place credit on the likes of Mike Ybarra and Jen O'Neill, the new leads over at Blizzard, especially Mike, because he has a regular presence on social media, which automatically earns him points for, mingling with the common folk. That's a joke, by the way, Mike, and I'm saying that because you never know. But Mike has been downplaying possible credit for what's happening in the World of Warcraft, noting that it's been Ian and the team working towards making the game better. The truth is, all we're going to get for now is this outward appearance of a team who's united and a leader who's backing them up. And right now, I've got no reason to get upset over it or want to dig and find the real, the ugly truth. I just want to talk and play video games, and if we can get back to that, I would be more than happy. So I'm going to end this by mentioning that since making their demands, the folks at A Better ABK have not had these demands met by Activision Blizzard leadership. World of Warcraft might be in the process of being scrubbed away of the Cosby family, but no one's saying that the work is done. So if nothing else, please keep your eyes open for what Activision Blizzard staff on the inside have to say. Share it, talk about it, get mad over it too, but not at me. You and I, we're cool, right? Good, because that's the show. I don't have a whole ton of post-show talk this time around, just a little bit of an apology for making Tuesday's coffee show last for like the entire stream. Sorry about that, but I totally blame Blizzard for not having the realms up, but it was still a ton of fun. But I'll tell you what, since you're here at the end of the weekly, let's try a little bit of an experiment. I would like to field some of your questions about me, or the channel, or my opinions on WoW, or other creators, or lore, or other games, and I'll bring those over to the next coffee and answer them. So So don't be shy. Like whenever I ask for these, I expect like 5 questions and I get like half of one maybe. So I hope to hear from you. And before we head out, let's give our thanks to our wonderful subscribers over on Twitch. It's September, by the way, whatever that means. And just as big of a thanks to our patrons. You folks are awesome for supporting the channel, the good vibes, and I guess Bob too. So let's have a great weekend, and I will see you for the reminders on Monday. Until then, everyone stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy. Me. It's a theme song. Theme song.